Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper, and guys, welcome to another edition of the Hard Truth Show. Just real quickly, I want to apologize that haven't had some streams on here in a bit. My dad has been having to have a lot of health care and things like that, and there's been a lot of things going on that I've just had to prioritize outside of the time that I would do for streaming. And also wanted to, man, there's so many videos that need to cover this week. Is the chemtrail thing, the Iran-Israel thing. Goodness, there's a bunch of stuff I'm going to try to catch up this week just in videos by themselves and not live streams. Shalom, much love to everybody. Absolutely. I think this is the comment of the stream thus far right here. Absolutely, hon. Everyone should be prepared. So, guys, shalom. Much love to everybody coming in the building. Much love to everybody that's watching this stream, following the live stream as usual. Shabbat shalom to those keeping the Father's Lunisolar Scriptural Biblical Calendar. And real quickly, guys, here is that calendar app. If you don't have it, it's free. You can get it on the App Store for Apple or Android device. And I try to stream on here on Sabbaths and new moon days. And guys, all my all-star content, my highlight reel, I call it, of anything that YouTube deletes goes over on, well, everything's over on Odyssey. It's copied on Odyssey. So any of the stuff that a lot of the content you don't see over here, you can see over on Odyssey, and it's free to watch over there as well. Real quickly, just a recap of some recent streams if you haven't seen them. Stream 80, we talked about changes coming to America, and boy, that eclipse that took place, I think, is a clear sign of that to come. And I also, real quickly, guys, I just want to point out, I love how everybody was like, well, nothing happened that day, so see, everybody's a false prophet, nothing's coming. Like, number one, I didn't say anything was going to happen that day that I know of. And if so, please cut the clip and share it with me. But what I did say is that this is definitely clear signs that we're in the last days. When you stack that with the river Euphrates, all these other things, and we're going to discuss in a minute. And furthermore, I'm going to show you some interesting stuff that just if you use it in comparison to 1800s, when the New Madrid fault did go and Reelfoot Lake was made, all that stuff happened, the Mississippi ran backwards for 3 hours, is that if you look at the USGS map, it has been a lot of stuff popping off since that. And it took 2 months after the eclipses, I guess, took place in the 1800s before the New Madrid did its thing. So everything takes time. But, buddy, when it pops off, it pops off. So to all the mockers and scoffers, just hang on to your hats. Then we talked about signs in the last days in the heavens, stream 81. We talked about the Scriptural Sabbath Summit. The brothers were on there with me from many ministries, and I thought that was great. We hosted here, streamed it multiple channels. If you haven't checked that out, make sure to check that out. I put some more notes about the April 8th thing, and boy, NASA did their thing. CERN, all these people, they were going wild over that, just like I told you. And then stream 83, we talked about the end is you can know the end of the season. You can know the season of the end of this age before the master's return. And today we're going to be discussing in stream 84, should believers be preppers? That is the tone for today. I thought it was a great conversation to be had today. And I really feel like it is a sound conversation to have in this season, because so many people are being demonized for preparing. They are being coerced not to prepare by believing in a pre-tribulation rapture and et cetera and everything. And so I feel like this is a very timely conversation to have, especially being a prepper and have been doing this since 2009. I feel like that, this is an answer to those who question why I do what I do also. And right here, Joseph was a believer and a prepper in the Bible. Absolutely. That's going to be one of my examples I lean to today, and we'll get to that in just a second. But without further ado, let's get this show on the road. One thing that I want to point out, and real quickly, guys, I've noticed, it was the brothers over at the Flat Earth Brothers channel, I believe it was, that shared that YouTube had took away their like button the other day. Somebody sent them a picture of it. They posted it, I guess, on the feed, on the news feed on YouTube. And guys, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of truthers out here being silenced. They're being shadow banned in various ways. My channel's been under attack, I think, for, gosh, 5 years now, at least since, that one event took place and I started sounding the alarm about not taking the you-know-what in 2019 forward. And I've been shadow banned pretty much ever since then. And so, guys, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Ring the notification bell and support this YouTube channel. And if you'd like to financially donate, that is appreciated as well. The link's in the video description below. Much love to y'all. But with that said, let's begin. When you look at the pre-tribulation rapture doctrine, they is a massive proponent of this, especially in Christian churches today, and in Protestantism especially. And my goodness, so sorry. I get that is a great comment. The exit sign is always before the exit. It tells you to get in the right lane. That is wonderful, Takar. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh man, these people that's mocking all these signs. I mean, from the river Euphrates to the signs in the heavens, it's blowing my mind. And Sister Tess, we're gonna be covering that gentleman as well here just in a moment. But glad to see everybody's on point in the house today. But the conversation that I want to just lay this down real quick at people's feet is that express to me how that everybody's just gonna whisk away when every single witness that I see in the pages of Scripture and history have always went through massive suffering and had to climb the mountains and go through the valleys and all the drama and all the problems to get to the finish line. I didn't see anybody get carried away or out of the problems, okay? When it was massive problems. I didn't see that. And people thought, well, Elijah was taken away. Yeah, did you see what all Elijah the prophet went through? Okay. The hard times, did he immediately get whisked away and during the hard times? No. So everybody went through it. So look at a book of Hanok. Look at all Enoch's seen, and did he immediately get whisked away either? So I'm just saying, guys, like if you're expecting immediate deliverance from things, you're hard pressed to sell me on this in the last days. Because the other thing that if for people that's atheist, agnostic, Protestant, but on the fence about the rapture, Torah keepers, but on the fence about, things like, I want to speak to everybody as a collective. As somebody that used to volunteer for FEMA under the CERT program, for somebody that has seen bad things happen. I've been out on the open ocean when a hurricane was coming in on a boat. I mean, I've seen a few things, and I guess I'm just trying to figure out, would it not make good, logical, sound sense to at least prepare for bad things coming, whether it be a hurricane, flooding? I mean, look what happened in Dubai the other day, but I don't want to touch on that too much because that's going to be a separate video about cloud seeding and geoengineering and, people saying that was conspiracy. And now we even got the state of Tennessee banning that and all this, but that's another conversation for another day. Does it not ring warning bells in your head that, hey, it might not be a bad idea just to be prepared, just in case a blizzard for 3 days? Would it not make logical sense to at least have some preparation in your life? Now, I'm going to tell you, in the world we live in, if you didn't pay attention from 2019 forward, as a person that has always been intrigued by post-apocalyptic movies and dystopian future and stuff like that, from Mad Max to you name it, I think that it is very important you understand the subliminal messages that are being pushed out there throughout the content that's being shared to the world nowadays, especially mainstream media, which now, by the way, you can't trust mainstream media or the news anymore, especially. I mean, they were even throwing shade. The news in Tennessee was throwing shade on elected officials for standing up against the oh my gosh, the chemtrail spraying. So, I mean, everyone's compromised. So when we look at this from everything, like, for example, this movie Songbird, sharing subliminal messages to Fallout, which, being a Fallout game fan, I'll say this is one thing about, Vault Tech is that they were kind of like the shadow government kind of deal. You know, they were like the dark corporations that run America today. They wanted to be the one end all, own all in the end. Really crazy stuff. But like, there's all these subliminal messages, and of course, Lucy came out of Vault 33. I'll just point that out too. You know, there's a ton of subliminal messages and stuff. But anyway, regardless, we have to understand that in the time we're living in, I share these secular things to tell you that like there's warnings all around, and those that are in power that plan to do terrible things, they're letting it out there too. And because I'm telling you guys, y'all laughing, the ones that's laughing and carrying on like, stuff will never happen, you're just conspiracy theorists, you're an idiot. I mean, they got the darn grocery stores with, you know, hand scanners and stuff already starting up. Like, it's a slow drip. If this all happened at one time, people would flip out because they've seen the warnings about it. But it has to be incrementally put into place. And I know this because I have enough mindset that if I wanted to be a full-on sociopath, I could. Like, I can digress and break these things down, because if I wanted to be wicked, my mind's geared in a way I could absolutely operate in the same capacity, okay? Because I have that understanding. And I don't want to do that. And yeah, I'm gonna tell you, Cindy, that's exactly why everybody be sick. Last year was crazy, and they were just spraying all the time here in Tennessee. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm not a fan of Walmart anymore. I'm just not a fan. Furthermore, the dregs of society go to Walmart, and I'm not trying to beat up on nobody, but it is just like, yeah, I'm just gonna let that one, just let that sleeping dog lie. I just don't care for Walmart. And especially knowing how FEMA and them's wrapped in bed together and stuff, we could just go on and on about this. But that's not the conversation for today. I just want you to understand that the things that are being told on TV, the things that are beginning in society, the things that we're witnessing before our very eyes, they're slowly amalgamating into said picture in front of us. And absolutely, we definitely need that discernment, guys. I'm seeing the comments as we go. Now, from a most sound doctrine, whether you're a believer or not, one of the most stupidest things I've ever seen is I want you to understand, I have worked from Europe to Alaska. I have been through Canada to Texas. I have been all over the place, either on adventure time going to do off-grid work or doing off-grid work. I mean, I have seen some wild stuff, and I have seen some wild weather and different things, places I've went and worked and done. And it just blows my mind that I'm like, okay, so on the most basis level of wisdom, the basis level of sound mind, would it not make sense to prepare at just the most minimal level? Like, if you live in Florida and you know it's going to come a hurricane all the time, like, why flip don't you have a generator? I mean, look, what kind of special stupid are you that you don't have a generator and you live up in I mean, like, I have multiple photovoltaic generators at my house. I don't really care for gas generation. I have tried to do things in a way that it's sustainable, reproducible. You know, like, people laughed about me getting an electric car. I'm like, you can laugh all you want, but I have a free filling station in my backyard. Like, I can literally power up my vehicle and drive off. And when y'all will, when I finally get my Tesla truck, I can plug in right here in the backyard and drive where I want to, hundreds of miles, and still come back. So, I mean, like, laugh y'all you want, but I don't see I don't see the ability to just like manufacture gas in your backyard. Anything like one of these video games where that, like, you craft all these things and there's just free stuff laying everywhere to, you know, like, you take this plastic bottle and then 2 pins and it crafts. It don't work like that, guys. That's fantasy land. Like, all you're going to have whenever it all falls apart is what's right in front of you. So if you ain't put the beans, bullets, and Band-Aids on the shelf, it's not going to end well whenever it ends badly for the world. You know what I'm saying? Shalom, much love to everybody coming to the building. So, you know, you have all these natural events taking place. And once again, if y'all ain't seen them TikTok videos of Dubai, oh, that was another thing. The TikTok ban. Hold on. I'm sorry, I got to go squirrel for a second. Guys, did you all see that bill that got passed for Ukraine the other day? They're banning TikTok. And, apparently, if y'all don't pay attention, TikTok has become the new truth place. It used to be this platform, but it is now on the talk. And whenever you go to TikTok, if you looked the other day and seen all that stuff going on with the Dubai thing, I mean, guys, this is wild. Much love to you, Sister Tess. I appreciate that. All praise the Most High. Y'all, I'm nothing without him. I'm just want to be a tool. I want to be an arrow in his quiver, shooting the truth out. So when you look at the situation that went on in Dubai, guys, I mean, this weather modification stuff, let me tell y'all, they can really mess things up in the middle of a darn desert. They can make it flood. Like, it's getting wild out here. Okay, y'all gonna understand that it's getting crazy. All right. Now, also, what's interesting to me is, as of the days of Noah, so shall come the Son of Man be, right? Is that when you look at, the warnings of Matthew 24 and everything else, we've seen from 2019. I feel like, to me, the end, the end of the day, like there's the end days, right? And then there's the literal end of days. I feel like somewhere around 29, and I hate date setting, but like on what would be the pagan, Roman, papal, Gregorian, satanic calendar, somewhere in the realm of the winter time, that would be like going into 2019. I feel like that was the beginning of the turning of the page and a beginning of a new chapter toward the end days, because like the things that was going on in Noah's day and the DNA modification, all that stuff. Now, we've seen it going on all the way up to the river Euphrates drying up, all the way up to right here is shout out to my friend Tom. I think that was one of his pictures, or Emily. We were all out back taking pictures that day at the factory of the eclipse, and that's about it was like 80% blocked where we were at. We weren't in the like actual line of sight where it was full eclipse blackout, but it was pretty wild to see. And all praise the Most High, all the clouds cleared just at the moment it was passing over us, so that we could see it, and then it clouded right back over, because of course they seeded the sky the day before. So anyway, that right there, we've got the signs in the heavens and a lot of things going on. And if you haven't checked this out, make sure to check this out. It's earthquake.usgs.gov. And I have meticulously checked this almost every day that I can since the beginning of the eclipse. Because just prior to, there was the earthquake in New York and all that stuff, and then since then there's been earthquake activity in Texas, southern Texas. There's been in around the Madrid. There's been various places where that line pattern has went across that. So very intriguing to me. I've been watching the earthquake activity. First week, what would be the first week of June, would be roughly about 2 months out if we're looking at this laden over comparison layover to 1800s. And I'm just trying to be very mindful and pay attention to this activity to see if we do have a repeat of that that happened in the 1800s. Because if so, you have to understand the destruction that was massive then will be nothing compared to it now, because of the population density and all the cities that are in that region now as compared to years ago. Because if y'all have not read the damage from the earthquake in 1800s, bro, it is savage. Entire towns wiped out. Entire peoples wiped out. The river ran backwards for hours, people. The Mississippi ran backwards for hours. Let me see what somebody said here. The answer to this is no, because a believer trusts in Yahuwah and believes in the resurrection knows no matter how much you can pray up, you can't escape the coming persecution because it's prophecy. Well, to each their own, but I'll say this. The master, just a recap of 2 slides that I had recently, and then I've got the rest of the scriptures for today at the end of this, because I figured non-believers would dip out, and I really wanted them to stay until the end, and then hit them with a scripture if they actually did care. So I just got these 2 real quick. It says, then he told them a parable, behold the fig tree and all the trees, as soon as they put forth leaves, you see it, and know for yourselves that summer is now near. So you also, when you see these things happening, recognize the kingdom of Elohim is near. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all things take place. And if you look at this generation will not pass away, if you look at that, the way that that's written in context, from what I could gather from eSword, it's like talking like this group of people, that sees these things will not pass away until all these things be fulfilled. Now, roughly that was what I gathered from reading that, but I encourage you to go and look at the context of that word in its own context. And I think I actually brought that up in the other stream I did, showed that so that people could make their own conclusion off of that. But when in the context of how that was being said, that's how I also registered it. Also, scripture says immediately after tribulation, those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from the heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, And then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. That's Matthew 24, 29, 31 MSG. Oh, please join me in the house of the Commonwealth of Israel, and let me be one of those elect. So here we are 21 minutes in, and I want to hit my first powerful example is, and also I tried to find images that would be melanated, because where this took place, obviously the ancient Hebrews, the ancient people of the earth, were melanated. Obviously Noah was, from what I can gather, albino, because he was given as a sign. And then that, obviously, I believe that melanation passed on to Japheth. I've discussed this, where the white people come from, because Ham and Shem were dark melanated people. That recessive gene, I'm sure, had to go somewhere. I'm not a clinical health professional, but I'm just giving my 2 cents on all this, and so, and then of course, you have Esau and Jacob and all that on down the line, those melanated people's division as well, from the dark brown to the red, and we could just get into all this stuff. But Noah, was a witness in his day, and he told people for a long time, just like, one honorable mention between the two that I put up here today, because I've got Joseph and Noah as my 2 PowerPoints, but I give an honorable mention to Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah the prophet, because he told people, man, Babylon's coming, and they done terrible things up to that man. And then after they wrecked his life and then threw him in prison and all these other things, is that after that all went down, then Babylon came, and then the Babylonians like, hey, where's this man at? And then, of course, turned him loose to dwell in the land, because, he told everybody what was coming. And it's just wild to me that, people will hear these warnings like, well, see, nothing happened. You're just a false prophet. You're an idiot. You're stupid. You shouldn't do this. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, bro, these people said this stuff was coming for a long time. And then the human fecal matter hit the vertical oscillator at 1,000 miles an hour, and it did not end well for people. All right. Consistently notable, historical, documented multiple times, things did not end well for people. All right. And yeah, exactly. That's a long time for people not to care. Yeah. Man. Oh man, that is savage. Back in 2019, our former preacher actually gave a speech at the church about why preparing was unnecessary for Christians. Needless to say, I had few words for afterwards. That is just, oh man. Guys, we're getting to the point where we just can't listen to this nonsense anymore. We gotta think. And so, when the day of judgment came, the wicked was removed from the earth, and the righteous was left. Where it talks about one will be grinding the mill, one will be taken, one will be in the field, one will be taken. You got to understand, the ones being taken are the wicked. The righteous will inherit the earth. Scripture talks about it. So people really need to get that straight. And shout out, I hate to say this, but I think it was shout out that Seventh-day Adventist Church, I think, was who pointed that out. And if it wasn't them, it's World's Last Chance. And if it wasn't them, please forgive me for who I said wrong. But somebody needs credit for that. I'm trying to think it was one of them too, when I first looked at that and learned that from someone else. And they opened my eyes to that. But that's a very important point, and then they were all drowned and removed from the earth, right? Wiped out. And in the end, Noah's preparation saved his family, saved the whole human race, because we're all descendants from him. Okay. Up until 2019, as I continue to say, there's only been one race. That's the human race. Now, the melanations and the tribes of the earth, we can get into that to break that down from the 3 sons. But until 2019, there was just one race. Now there's 2 races of human beings. There's ones with damaged DNA, and because of what, and then there is people that are still pure blood. That's all I know to say. And so well, what? No, it's 2. Well, if you look at 1800s, it was 2 months after. So that'd be like around the first week of what would be June. If you're just counting that off, that way. And I don't know. Honestly, I hope things bad don't happen, but I know at some point it is, and it concerns me. I'm not going to sit here and act like it don't, because the clear signs and the warning signs in the heavens above. We can't just ignore these things. So here we have, I put this picture up because you can see here how they were melanated, the Egyptians, and the Hebrews. If you look at them, their hair texture and their their whole being is a little different from the Egyptians. And when people look at this, that it is so hard to find the historically accurate representation of the ancient Egyptians and the Hebrews, because I'm like, listen, they ain't white folk over there. All right. And I'm not trying to sound racist. I'm just saying, like, come on, people. Like, let's start accurately telling the historical truth on things. All right. It doesn't cost a thing to just be honest. All right. Messiah was a melanated man. All right. It ain't hurting my feelings at all. What's gonna hurt my feelings if I don't get let in the kingdom? All right. That will hurt my feelings. But I'm just saying, like, Luke's gonna always be honest to the truth. All right. So it's like 2015 since I found out the true Hebrew Israelites were so-called black man. I've been telling the truth about that too. All right. So I'm just trying to be honest across the board on all these things. All right. But so Joseph was sold into slavery. And y'all know this story, anybody that reads the scripture. But the point in case is that after he was sold into slavery, and what was it, Potiphar? And then he tells a dream to the Pharaoh, and then he's second in line on, second to Pharaoh only when Pharaoh sits in the throne. And so, then he preps and he gets everything straight. Let me see. Do I have that other image? Oh, no, I don't. I had the one where he was buying up all Egypt. So, all the Egyptians coming, they broke, hungry, didn't listen, didn't prep. And so, they pretty much sell their souls and their land and everything off to Pharaoh, and he ends up owning everything up in the end. And Joseph orchestrated, the purchase of all that for the Pharaoh because he prepared and made the granaries and everything. And so, there is multiple examples throughout Scripture of preparation against the day of trouble. Not only is there preparation, there was warnings given. Not only the people that made the preparation, but the people making the preparation gave the warning to the people that didn't. So, it is a very, very clear, laid out consistency of stories throughout Scripture and history too. Even outside the page of Scripture, there is plenty of, hey, we knew this bad thing was coming, and we did something about it, and we survived it. Shocking. Anyway, so moving on. When we look at these things in comparison to the seven trumpets of Revelation, it's going to be one of the wildest event to ever take place in the history of humanity, and so bad that it shall never take place on the earth yet again, is what Messiah said. So, that kind of tells me I really, 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 really need to pay attention and get my act together, because terrible things are going to come up on the earth. And when we look at this, a third of the trees burned up in grass, and tells me I better put back food for my animals. Tells me I better put back food for myself, because grain and a lot of the staples of the earth will be destroyed. Not only that, probably need a gas mask because it's going to be hard to breathe. Third of the sea becomes blood, and third of the ships and sea life destroyed. Tells me probably going to be a mega tsunami. And not only that, seafood's going to be contaminated. So the things that do have fins and scales to eat, that's going to be unclean too. And since 75% of the world or more, I think 76, I think they say, is salt water, desalinating that and purifying that water is going to be pretty rough too. So might want to keep that in mind. Oh, and then a third of the fresh waters become bitter. So if I don't have a whale or a rain catchment and a means to purify all these things, probably need to get that done too. And guys, I'm sorry, I'm being facetious a little bit, but I'm just trying to just put this out here that, like, you have to be an idiot to read this and not be like, man, I need to do something. Okay. Third of the sun, moon, and stars do not shine. Because immediately after the tribulation of these days that's coming, Messiah comes back, right? So it tells me I better get my act together. So here looks like I'm going to need some power to turn some lights on and be able to see and come and go, because it's going to be dark out there for a bit. And then, what is it? Men will be tormented for 5 months, will seek death and shall not find it. So I'm literally looking at the fifth trumpet, possibly looking at like something out of The Walking Dead, and then, the kings of the east coming west. We already seen the river Euphrates dry, and we also know that China's army is at its greatest potential now it ever will be. It will drop off from there. Then, the kingdom of the Most High is declared, and then we see all the bowls of wrath. Everything from the wicked being scorched with heat, scorched to the boils on their body, which probably from taking what, which is already people starting to have stuff on their body from taking what. Very, very wild, folks. It's going to get wild out here, and I've just very glazed over the surface right there. Not to mention marauders, people not meaning goodwill toward you, people that didn't prepare coming to rob you. People that hate you because you were a witness and told them. And once again, I'm just going to go ahead and call it. Maybe it's just me being petty. Maybe it is a little bit of sociopathic nature, but I don't care. Like, whenever it happens, I'll be like, yeah, I told you so. The flip you want me to tell you, bro? You mocked me for like 2 decades, and I told you it's coming. What you want me to do? Feel sorry for you? What you want me to do? Prop you up? It ain't happening. So yeah, that's okay too. Listen, you know how the wicked can be okay and completely committed to the cause of what they do. Lucas is okay and completely committed to the cause of what he does too. So maybe that's what makes me so uneasy with some people's spirit when I'm in their presence, because they know it's like, listen, if that dude's going to hell, he's going to hell with a smile on his face at this point, because that dude is committed to what he believes, right? All right, so that's that. And I want to be very careful how I say that, because what is it? Aleister Crowley, and I can't think of that one guy that is was the leader of the Church of Satan. But when they died, they were like, "Oh, I made a terrible mistake. This is not what it was supposed to be." And I'm just summarizing. I'm just summarizing. Now, I won't be like them, because I have believed in the Most High, y'all. I have committed to the cause. I want to keep the commandments. I want to do the right thing. And so when I die, I want to see the kingdom, right? I want to be, if I have to die before I see the kingdom come, I want that resurrection being that first group that comes up and sees that true kingdom. And I'm going to slide to that in a minute. That's very important to me. So I want you to understand that when I say that, and hateful and sarcastic, it may be taken in a way toward the wicked of the world, I just want everybody to know that, like, as far as you're conceited and content to go your way of wickedness, I'm content to go my way of serving the Most High, and that's really important to me. See, forgive your enemies, pray for those persecuted, for vengeance is yours, and he will bring everyone into judgment. Absolutely. Oh, I forgive them. I absolutely forgive them. But I'm not going to walk that same path. And, I can forgive people too, and I can keep my own can of beans. Like, everybody's going to pay. The bill is going to come due in everyone's life. Listen, right now, I'm probably spending the last time I'm going to get to in this earthly world with my dad. I've had a wonderful journey with him. I love him. I tell him every single time I see him, give him a kiss on the head, tell my dad I love him. But at some point, I'm probably going to have to say goodbye to him, and he's going to have to take the long sleep waiting on the resurrection. The bill for your life is going to come due for everyone, myself included. The tab will be paid. So y'all best get it in order where you're going to end up. And Robin said, "Luke, I'd like your opinion. The pond. If someone has a filtered straw or a means of bent bone." Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. And I think that thing's got like a mini spring pouring into that somehow, because the water's just so blue and clean anyway. But I definitely filter it through a, oh my goodness, what's my thing in here? My Berkey. Yeah. They got the carbon filter, and then there's the white filter. I definitely filter through that so to get the heavy metals out, because they're spraying barium and aluminum on top of us too. All right. So moving forward. Almost done, guys. So, it would be nice to have a big old wind turbine in the backyard like that, bigger than the one I have. And it would be nice to have a big old bunker. But the thing is now, I would want this not to hide from the Most High. I would want this to get away from the craziness of humanity when it pops off, because they going to be some crazy folk. And I just want to point out too, that they made a terrible mistake on the setup at the front of that bunker, because if I was doing off-grid work for people again, that power for the security camera would have come out right there at the top of where the radiological symbol. I just put that on there, overlaid that, but I would have put that right above where that radiological symbol is. and it would have come, the access electrical would have come just straight through the back of the concrete, and it would have been a protective bulletproof cover put over that thing, because somebody can walk right up and lean over the top of the hill right there and cut that electrical service, and nobody will know that somebody's at the front door breaking in. Just saying, just saying. But anyway, you know, the kings of the earth and all these rich men, mighty men of the world, they're going to try to hide themselves. And you know, is it bad in the nuclear world to have a bunker? No. But I'm just saying, I know this is what the rich men and the mighty men are doing. But in reality, most of us, I mean, even at the best we can do right now, put cans of food and, you know, preps back and etc. Buckets of rice, and yes, protection. I know this is a conversation people don't want to have, but listen, you need to protect yourself. You know, please digress on that. I'm very interested to hear that, guys. Would be very interested to hear that more in details on why. So just some quick scriptures. Then the kings of the earth, the nobles, the commanders, the rich, the mighty, and every slave and free man hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains. Once again, trying to escape the Most High. And what I'm talking about is preparation to make it through the troublesome times, the trumpets, and dealing with mankind until we do see the Most High come back, because that is my hope. That is my aspiration. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it. There you go. But if any provide not for his own, and specifically for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith. Think about that. Let that soak in. And is worse than an infidel. All right, let us keep going. But to the cowardly and unbelieving and abominable and murderers and sexually immoral and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars, their place will be in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur. That is the second death. Blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that Elohim has promised to those who love him. And lastly, he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And I'm going to say this again for those in the back. He that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. All right. That is the hope right there. The living and those that have died will be resurrected and be gathered in the new kingdom, folks. That is goalpost. That is the only reason I'm prepping, okay? If I didn't believe that there was a resurrection, if I didn't believe that the Most High is coming back, all right, then the casino, the whorehouse, the licentious living, the do as thou will, all that, then, you know, people could be like, you know, wire it out, do your thing, all right? And what else? What else is some terrible thing? Anyway, I'm just using some examples, right? But I don't want to live that way. I want to be a good man, do right by my neighbor, love my neighbor, live for the kingdom, make it in the kingdom. And it's not going to come easy. Anything that comes easy goes fast, baby. Anything that is good, that will last, that is long suffering and lasts a long time, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of struggle, and a lot of elbow grease to make it happen. All right. I'm going to tell you, it's took me years to get power for off-grid. It's took me years to put food back, years to put protection back, years to learn how to do things and build certain things and operate certain things. It's took years. And if you haven't started that journey, today is a real prime real estate day to get that show on the road. Okay. And I mean, I just don't know what more to say to it. It's a hard pill for people to swallow. And I remember from the time frame that I was on Doomsday Preppers on National Geographic film to this day, how many people that dismiss being prepared and also find it humorous that people prepare. But also, I watch these people whenever snow blizzards happen or bad things happen, how that they panic and just go completely haywire. But yet the people that actually did the right thing, did their due diligence, prepared, are very calm during bad times when they happen. It's night and day. And I'll tell you, if I can get a wood stove and a couple other things finished up this year, it will give me a lot of peace in regards to self-sufficiency. Because in my spirit, I'm willing to put the legwork in to take care of myself, whether it's Mad Max, Fallout, dystopian future, or whether it's just modern society and it collapses because the trumpets start. You know, my mind is content to keep going forward because I know there is an end to this thing. And I think that's what happens my last point I would make on this is I think a lot of people feel like, well, there's no end. There's no end in sight. This is the end of the world. And in a way, it's the end of the age. It's the end of Satan's kingdom, but it's not the end of all things, right? And I'm so glad it's not, because I look forward to the future, and that's worth fighting for. So if you're not a prepper, if you don't feel like it's important to prepare, I hope that you take some of the things I've said today, set and reason that out, and use logic and use some wisdom, and be like, you know what, it is probably wise that we have some kind of protection and some kind of food and some kind of heat and cooking source and water filtration and things like this, because bad times are coming. And there's no avoiding it. Hey, shalom, brother Fearmonger. It's good to have you in the building. I know you've been a supporter of the channel for a long time. Much love to you, brother. And so, as always, guys, I'm going to go jump off here. I'm going to go spend some time with my little ones. I think I hear one of them, and they're awake now. So, guys, as always, until we see you again here at Seven Trumpets Prepper Channel, I hope the Most High Yah Baruch you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, show you favor, and give you shalom, my friends. In Yahushua name. Much love, y'all, and have a wonderful Sabbath.